Hey guys, Dantix here. Let's get into some more Starfield tips that you didn't know you needed to know. Something that I'm sure many of you didn't know is that if you hold down the aim button while you have the cutter out, your reticule will slowly narrow and your cutter will go into overdrive. This will drastically increase your harvesting rate. You can see here the time it takes a regular beam versus the time it takes an overdrive version. There's quite a big difference and it saves you a lot of time, especially when you're harvesting some of the rarer materials. Now I'm only including this because it was the most common question I received in my last video. Where do you get the swimsuit in Starfield? That'll teach me to show you good folk how to equip it on your companions. You find the swimsuit on Paradiso in the Polymer system, you continue down past the resort and in the first hut in the left locker, you'll see the swimsuit laying there ripe for stealing. Steal it and enjoy the sun while you're at it. And please don't complain that all the women have small chests, it's just easier for devs to rig, and jiggle effects get them in hot water with threat and gentleness, so that's what mods are for. You might be wondering why some weapons of the same name do less or more damage than others, and why some armors of the same name give more protection or less than others. Well, they have an artificial rank system that isn't explained. The higher the rank, the higher the damage, or in the case of armor, the higher the protection. They start with the regular old name, so Eon, for example. Then start gaining titles in front of that name, starting with calibrated, then refined, then advanced. So there would be an Eon, then a calibrated Eon, then a refined Eon, then an advanced Eon. Advanced being the highest tier that we know of right now, and therefore the most expensive and sought after. You can have two pacifiers, one advanced and one regular, and the advanced one does drastically more damage. Any other title, including modified, just means that that weapon has some mods on it. Those can be changed at a crafting bench, however you can't change the tier of your weapon or armor. So if it's refined, you can't upgrade it to advanced. The reason for this is the devs don't want you to be doing what you could in other Bethesda titles, making ridiculously broken items at the start without need of finding better ones. So remember, calibrated, then refined, then advanced. So have you been navigating the universe map and wondered what all the random icons meant, or did it not even really register that they had meaning at all? Well, I'm here to tell you that the icons here mean that this system, and when you drill down further, the planet or moon has a city or explorable spot with NPCs on it. So typically these are places you can go to shop, modify your ship, and get missions. It's a useful icon that shows up once you've traveled to or scanned the location. The icon also represents space stations, so don't assume that locations are just on solid bodies. Also, these particular icons mean that this location has one of your outposts, so you don't lose track of them when you've built a lot. One of the best suits to get early game is hidden away in the lodge. When you get the key and can travel to the crafting area, make a detour left and down the hall until you reach this display case. You'll notice that it's locked with master level security. No matter, just angle yourself right and you can take it right away. This suit has some extremely high resistances and protection and is completely empty of mods, letting you modify it as you see fit. You can check out my video below in how to modify it and why, but it'll become one of the best suits in the game with investment. I finally have a combat tip for you. Did you know you can peek around corners while in cover? It's simple to do. Just press yourself up against a piece of cover and hold aim. You'll quickly peek out in a very Time Crisis 2 arcade machine-like burst. It's yet another feature that's glossed over, but it helps on harder difficulties or when you aren't so invested in combat, as you have less for the enemies to target and thus will take far less damage. Also, you'll pop into cover to reload, which is definitely a boon. If you haven't invested highly in shipbuilding, there's no need to make an oversized behemoth of a ship. For extremely cheap, you can make something tiny like this and it'll work just fine. And in most cases it will have higher maneuverability and jump range than the bigger ones since you'll be cutting down en masse. I want to see the smallest ships you can possibly make. These are perfect for dogfighting because they'll stay on your enemy's rear end like glue and are tiny targets. Physics-based weapons will miss far more often. Any respectable space pirate needs to equip their ship with EM weapons. EM weapons let you disable ships and board. They do extremely high damage to ship systems, so make sure you have the targeting control system skill and manually target a ship's engines. From testing, you get the most amount of rewards from an encounter by boarding a ship, robbing it, then blowing it up and looting the remains. If it's a nice ship, you can take it and register, but that's quite costly. Keep in mind you don't only want EM weapons, as you need something to actually damage enemies as well, so a strong particle weapon as an all-purpose solution works wonders. Taking enough EM damage will blow the ship up as well, so keep that in mind if you want to board. Also, you can't board while there are enemy ships shooting at you. I know most of you thieves have already tried this, but just like in Skyrim, you can put boxes on enemies' heads and they'll no longer be able to see you. It goes without saying that this is perfect for stealthing past people, robbing them blind, or even pickpocketing them. I'd recommend practicing a bit to get it right. On PC, you hold any item by holding down the E key, and you flip it in the air by pressing left or right click. Xbox is holding the pickup button and pressing the right trigger. Happy stealing. Though it's been shown before, many people still don't realize you can land anywhere on planets and moons that have a solid ground. Sorry haters, you can't land on gas giants. Clicking on the random spot will show you the biome of the area. Yes, there are multiple biomes on most planets, with potentially different flora and fauna, as well as different points of interest to explore. If you want to fully survey a planet, you might need to visit different parts of it. You'll make good use of this information when you decide you want to explore, as you get rewarded for doing so. Taking your time, exploring and scanning alien planets and moons is one of the joys of Starfield, but what makes it even better is you're not doing it for free. You can sell your survey data. Surveying is pulling out your hand scanner and fully scanning flora, fauna, resources and anomalies. Most flora and fauna will require multiple scans to complete 100%. Also, you need to scan planets and moons from your ship to complete the process. You can sell the data anywhere, but Vlad from Constellation gives you the most amount of money for it. You get paid for having full planets completed, but even more for full systems. Now, when shipbuilding, there are two modules that I think you absolutely can't afford to look over. First is portholes. You can add them to the top and sides of your ship. These will take your ship from a box that exists outside of everything to a starship that exists within its own universe. Walking around it while in space is incredibly beautiful. I recommend making a captain's quarters somewhere private with some windows for you and your loved one to share some quality time under the stars. Then we have the weapon mount. This will let you turn a normally flat surface into a dual prong to allow two weapons or objects, like this scan jammer, to be mounted in an aesthetically pleasing way, usually bypassing the limitations you have to where you can place weapons. So keep the weapon mount in mind when building your next ship. And that's everything. What did you think? Find anything you didn't know? If you have more hints and tricks, let me know below. For everything Starfield, you're in the right place, but to chat Starfield, check out my Discord below. Ciao friends.